They don't always lie to your face. Sometimes they compliment you, help you, even say they love you. But underneath it all, they're pulling the strings, quietly, methodically, and in plain sight. Manipulation doesn't always look like control. It often looks like kindness. That's why it's so dangerous. Machiavelli, the controversial political thinker behind The Prince, believed that power is rarely taken by force. It's taken by illusion. And the same tactics rulers used centuries ago are still being used on you every day. In this video, we'll break down 7 powerful signs that you're being manipulated through the lens of Machiavellian philosophy and modern psychology. Because if you can't see the game, you'll always be a pawn. A manipulator doesn't follow principles. They follow outcomes. They'll say what sounds noble, what looks ethical, even quote morals, until those morals get in the way of what they want. Then they shift, subtly, quietly, and suddenly the rules no longer apply to them. Machiavelli wrote, "A wise ruler must learn how not to be good and use that knowledge when necessary." This is the manipulator's creed. They'll frame their self-serving actions as for the greater good or necessary sacrifices. But pay attention, not to their words, but to their pattern. Do their values vanish when it's inconvenient? If they preach loyalty but disappear when you're down, you're not dealing with a person of principle. You're dealing with a tactician. They don't have to be virtuous, only appear so. Machiavelli warned rulers, everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Manipulators exploit this gap, curating an image that feeds your trust while hiding their true motives. They'll post perfectly staged kindness, send lavish gifts, and speak with confidence so you believe in their goodwill. But look closer. Does their generosity come with fine print? Do their excuses swell when outcomes don't favor you? When actions contradict the façade, promises evaporate, help vanishes, loyalty falters, reality exposes the illusion. Trust not the spotlight they stand in, but the shadow their deeds cast. Because once you see beyond the image, manipulators know fear is a stronger leash than love. Machiavelli taught, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." They'll drop subtle threats. "You'll regret this. I'll be disappointed," until your compliance feels safer than standing your ground. You start walking on eggshells, hesitating to speak your mind, avoiding tough conversations, agreeing just to keep the peace. That's the point. Every moment of anxiety reinforces their control. Watch for vague ultimatums and conditional affection. If you really cared, "I just won't help you next time." These aren't casual remarks. They're leverage. When you realize fear is the currency, you can refuse to pay. Stand firm. Call out the threat. Because once you stop believing that fear protects you, you're free to choose your own path. A manipulator's gift isn't kindness. It's a currency. Machiavelli noted that strategic generosity can bind men to you by obligation, so they lavish you with favors, compliments, or resources, then quietly invoice you with loyalty and obedience. That free dinner or career tip? It comes with unspoken strings. "You owe me this one. Remember who helped you." Suddenly saying no feels selfish, and you start repaying with time, favors, or silence whenever they demand it. Authentic generosity expects nothing in return. Manipulative generosity demands a hidden ROI. Next time someone's kindness feels too convenient, pause and ask, what do they really want from me? When you recognize gifts as leverage, you reclaim the balance of power and the freedom to say, "No, thank you." Manipulators thrive on chaos because a crisis erodes your resistance. Machiavelli observed that a wise prince ought to adopt such a course that his citizens will always in every sort and kind of circumstance have need of the state. In other words, create or exploit turmoil so they become indispensable. Watch for sudden emergencies that only they seem equipped to solve. A last-minute deadline they save you from. A relationship conflict they mediate. A financial scare they protect you against. Each crisis shifts your focus from questioning motives to clinging for help. As gratitude grows, so does their influence. Next time a named or nameless emergency appears, pause. Is this really urgent or orchestrated? By refusing to be rushed into their solutions, you reclaim your autonomy and neutralize their power play. Manipulators control the narrative by drip-feeding information. Machiavelli advised rulers to so frame your public acts that your intentions remain hidden. They'll reveal just enough truth to gain your trust, while concealing facts that might reveal their agenda. Notice when key details are accidentally omitted, project risks glossed over until you've committed, conflicting opinions buried in fine print, promises made verbally but never put in writing. This selective transparency shapes your perception, guiding decisions in their favor. Defend yourself by demanding clarity. Ask pointed questions. What haven't you told me? Insist on written confirmation. Seek outside perspectives. Once you illuminate hidden gaps, the manipulator's narrative collapses because control depends on the stories you don't know. Knowing manipulation tactics isn't a license to become a puppet master. It's a shield for your integrity. Machiavelli's insights often spark moral debate. Is understanding power inherently corrupting? True mastery lies in awareness, not exploitation. When you recognize these signs, you can set healthy boundaries without mirroring deceit, respond with empathy rather than suspicion, maintain your values even in power PL. Ethical understanding means using this knowledge to protect yourself and uplift others, calling out manipulation, supporting vulnerable peers, and fostering transparent relationships. Remember, the goal isn't to manipulate back, but to navigate social hierarchies with discernment and honor your principles. In this balance, you wield power not for personal gain, but for genuine influence and integrity. Manipulation isn't reserved for villains. It's a tactic woven into everyday relationships, boardrooms, and social media feeds. By spotting these 7 Machiavellian signs, self-interest cloaked in principle, polished facades, fear tactics, strategic generosity, crisis exploitation, selective transparency, and the moral choice to understand, you arm yourself with clarity and confidence. Remember, the goal isn't to master deceit, but to reclaim your agency. When you notice motives hidden behind kindness or pressure dressed as concern, pause, question the narrative, demand honesty, and trust actions over words. Your boundaries become your fortress, and your discernment the key that unlocks true influence. Walk away from manipulation not embittered but empowered. Use what you've learned to cultivate integrity in your own dealings, to build relationships rooted in transparency, and to lead with both strength and compassion. In a world where power often masks itself in charm, your awareness is the greatest safeguard and the purest form of influence. Seek wisdom,